So now that we've got our fence rails and plinths in place, the next step is to put the pickets on. But before we do that, we must cut the top of the posts off because it's a little bit too tricky once the pickets are in. To do that, I'll need to mark it out with my tape measure and set square and then just cut the tops with the saw. Once the posts have been cut, we can then put the pickets on. Again, I'll need some measuring equipment for that. I'll need a level, obviously my pickets. I'm going to need a small nail gun just to put them in place initially, and then I'm going to screw them on using cordless drill and some outdoor screws. So the height of the post is purely personal choice. You may choose to cut the post at the same height as the pickets or higher. It's purely up to you. Once you've decided where you want to do it, just mark the post right round and then make it cut. Then just set your saw up, put your safety gear on and cut the top of the post off. Depending on the size of the post, you may need to finish the cut using a hand saw. So now it's time to set out for our pickets. There's many ways to do this, but I find the easiest is to just find the centre and work outwards. Once I've found the centre of my rail, take the measurement of the width of your picket and divide that evenly. You want the centre line that you've marked through the centre of your first picket. So now that we've got those outer marks, I'm just going to use the level to transfer them to the top and the bottom rails. This is where the first picket will go. I'll just fix them in place with the nail gun first and then I can screw them off later. The spacing that you use between the pickets is purely up to you. You may use something as narrow as a pencil or you may want to go wider. I'm going to use the thickness of a picket just to make it easy. So when you get to the end of the run, leave the last 3 or 4 pickets off, because you'll probably need to adjust your gaps at this point. Just lay the pickets in here up against the rail and just visually change your spacing to suit. You can still use your other picket as a guide and then you'll just have to open or close the gap. So when you're happy with those spaces, just make a mark on your rail and then scribe down with the level again so you know exactly where those pickets will go. And then just continue on. So now that all your pickets in place, we're going to fix them to the rails with outdoor screws. You'll also need to pre-drill your picket so that it doesn't split when you're putting the screw through. This is a handy little gadget called a countersink bit. It's got a small drill bit with a countersink end and also a stop. So you can only ever drill to the one depth every time. And I'm just putting 1 screw per picket at every rail. If your picket is a little bit wider, you'll probably need to use 2 per rail. Now because this fence is going to be painted, these holes will be filled and then the paint will go over the top. If we were leaving these boards exposed, you might want to run a string line or a pencil line through so that all the screws are exactly on the same line. So now that all these components have come together, we've got an amazing looking fence. So that's how you install pickets.